chamber of the Galactic Council was filled with the glow of 1,000 stars, each one represented by a banner of a ruling species. On this day, the alien leaders gathered to celebrate their shared history, a history that included the destruction of a dangerous species they once feared, the Terrans. A tall, insectoid alien with shimmering red eyes, Chancellor Xylan of the Dominion, stood at the center of the hall. His voice carried a tone of mocking pride as he spoke. Terrans, you're gone, burned to dust centuries ago. Their fire has long been extinguished. The council hall erupted in laughter. A reptilian emperor leaned forward, his scaled mouth curling into what passed for a smile. The humans were wild animals. They destroyed their own world with their greed. The Dominion merely finished what they started. The words were followed by cheers and nods. The council viewed humanity not as a tragic loss, but as a warning. Reminder of what happens when a species dares to challenge the galactic order. The joke of the galaxy for hundreds of years. Terrans had been nothing more than a story told in alien schools. Once there were violent monkeys from a blue planet, the teacher said.
Ow!
They fought with fire and iron, believing they could rule the stars. But their rage consumed them, and their homeworld turned to ash. Alien historians painted humanity as reckless, violent, and doomed. No one questioned it. No one imagined that somewhere deep in the cold dark, humanity's story was far from over, the scavenger ship far from the council chambers. A small scavenger vessel named Vraytok S. Fortune drifted on the edge of the Sol system. Its crew of 4 insectoid scavengers searched the remains of dead colonies and broken stations, hoping to find rare metals and forgotten technology. Their leader, Captain Vradek, looked at the empty scanner readings with a sigh. Nothing. Here but dead rocks and ice, the humans left nothing behind worth taking. His second-in-command, a younger scavenger named Rytek, frowned at his console. Captain, I'm picking up something strange. A signal. Very faint. It's not Dominion code. It's old. Old Vortok tilted his head. Define old. Ratok turned the scanner to full power. It's Terran. Ancient Terran language. I can't read it. The crew froze. Terran signals were not supposed to exist. Their entire network, their colonies, their ships, everything had been wiped out over 300 years ago. This must be a mistake, Ratok said. But his voice trembled. The signal grows stronger. The signal pulsed like a heartbeat, slow and deliberate.
A simple repeating message.
Rytek's console translated the broken data. To any who listen, we are here. We endure. We wait. Scavengers exchanged nervous looks. Captain Rytek whispered, "This is coming from inside the Sol system, near Jupiter." The shadow of Jupiter, the Veritok's Fortune, crept closer, its engines silent as it slipped into the shadow of Jupiter's massive storms. The gas giant loomed like a red and white giant, swirling clouds reflecting the scavenger ship's lights. Then they saw it, at first. It looked like a black mountain drifting in space. But as they approached, the shape became clear. A ship. A warship bigger than any Dominion dreadnought. Its surface covered in black plating that seemed to swallow the starlight. Its hull bore no name, but the lines of its design were unmistakable. The scavenger crew trembled in silence. No human ships had been seen for centuries, and this one looked alive. The awakening as they watched, lights began to glow. Along the ship's spine-cold blue lines that flickered like veins awakening after a long sleep, a deep, mechanical hum rolled across the void, as if the ship itself was drawing breath. "Captain," Rytek said, his voice shaking, "that ship, it's powering up." The black warship's engines flared for the first time in centuries. Its massive hull shifted, rotating slowly as if turning to face them. Then, through every communication channel, a voice spoke. The voice of humanity. It was deep, cold, and unmistakably human. "So we're still here." The scavenger crew froze, unable to speak. The voice continued. You thought we were gone. You were wrong. And we remember everything. Rytek's hands shook as he whispered, Captain, what do we do? The escape we run? Ratek hissed. Now, the Vratek's fortune turned sharply, its engines flaring as it sped away from the warship. But before they could escape the system, a final message followed them, a transmission carried across every frequency, every channel, to the Dominion, to the Council. To all who hear this, the Terrans have not forgotten. We are coming. The Council's panic. Later, the Galactic Council received the report. Ratak's voice was shaking as he relayed what he had seen. The council chamber went silent. No one laughed now. Chancellor Zealan stood, his mandibles clicking nervously. Impossible, he hissed. Terrans are extinct. They cannot return. But deep down, every alien leader felt the same chill. If the humans had survived, if they had built ships like the one Vratok described, then the galaxy might face something worse than extinction. Because humans didn't forgive, they never forgot. The ship's name on the shadowed side of Jupiter, the Black Warship, fully awakened. Its systems hummed, its weapons powered, and its Adaiwants dormant now burned with consciousness. It whispered to itself a single name. Revenant, the last of Earth's warships. A ghost from humanity's darkest hour. Humanity's voice in the command chamber of the Revenant. A single figure stood, tall, armored, and silent. His face was hidden by a helmet, but his eyes burned with a cold fire. This was Admiral Jareth Cole, one of the last surviving leaders of the Terran Defense Fleet. He had waited centuries for this moment. They think we are dead, he said to the AI voice that filled the chamber. Then let us show them what the dead can do. Hook-ending the Revenant turned its massive hull toward the stars. Engines roared to life, and its weapon systems locked into place. Its transmission echoed through the void one last time. We are still here, and we remember everything. Screen fades to black. The Dominion believed in strength. For centuries, they ruled the galaxy with a fleet so massive that no species dared to challenge them. Entire civilizations had bowed to their power. Those who resisted were wiped out. Just as humanity had been, at least, that's what they believed. But now, a shadow had moved in the void. And that shadow carried the name Revenant. The Revenant's awakening in the command chamber of the Revenant. Admiral Jareth Cole stood before a glowing tactical display. His face was weathered by time and war, his steel-gray eyes reflecting the cold light of the screens. The ship's AI spoke, its voice smooth and calm, yet tinged with something human-like. Admiral, our systems are fully online. Weapons primed. Engines at full capacity. We are combat-ready. Jareth nodded. How long have we been asleep? 284 years, the AI replied. Since the fall of Earth's last defense fleet. We were hidden beneath the shadow of Jupiter, waiting for your command. Jareth's jaw tightened. And the Dominion? Do they still rule? Yes, the AI answered. But they believe humanity is extinct. Hush. Jareth allowed himself a thin, grim smile.
Ash.
Then let's remind them who we are. Target. Outpost, that 9. The Revenant sensors lit up with new data. Dominion mining outpost at Tottenham sat at the edge of the Helios belt, harvesting rare metals for warships. It was lightly guarded. It's perfect for a first strike. Ilara Miles, the ship's tactical officer, appeared on the command deck. She was younger than Jareth, born on one of the last Terran colonies before they were destroyed. Her eyes burned with the same quiet rage that all survivors carried. Admiral Thatanine is vulnerable, she said. We can take it out without anyone knowing what hit them? Jareth shook his head. No, we want them to know. The galaxy has forgotten humanity's fire. Right. It's time to remind them. The approach the Revenant moved like a phantom through space, its black hull absorbed. Radar and scans, making it invisible to Dominion sensors. As it closed in on Thatanine, the AI whispered through the comms. Enemy defenses detected, 3 patrol cruisers and 20 automated turrets. No heavy warships present. Ilara smiled. This will be quick. Drake, the ship's gunnery chief, cracked his knuckles. "Permission to test our new toys, Admiral?" "Permission granted," Jareth said. The battle begins. Thet-9 scanners barely detected the Revenant before the attack began. The first shot came like a flash of black lightning. A Dominion patrol cruiser exploded into a ball of fire before its crew even realized they were under attack. Alarms blared across the outpost. "Unknown vessel detected. Shields up," shouted a Dominion officer, but it was too late. The Revenant's rail cannons fired again, tearing through two more cruisers. In seconds, the automated turrets tried to respond, but the ship's stealth shields made it impossible to lock on. The voice of the dead. Revenant opened communications on all Dominion frequencies. A voice cold and sharp filled the outpost. "This is Admiral Jareth Cole of the Terran Defense Fleet." Pause, heavy with menace. "We are not extinct. We are not gone. We are your reckoning." The Dominion commander on Thet-9 froze. "Terrans? That's impossible," before he could finish. The Revenant's plasma lances cut through the station's shield like it was paper. Outposts shook violently as fire spread through its corridors. No survivors within 20 minutes. Thet-9 was gone. The Revenant didn't leave survivors. Every ship, every defense system, every communication relay was reduced to glowing debris. The AI confirmed the kill. Thet-9 neutralized. No transmissions escaped. The Dominion will not know who hit them unless we want them to.
Earth?
The Revenant moved like a predator stalking its prey. In the cold emptiness of the Veil Nebula, its black hole blended with the shadows, invisible to scanners or sensors. Its engines burned faintly, leaving no trail behind. On the bridge, Admiral, Jareth Cole stood with his hands behind his back, his sharp eyes fixed on the glowing tactical map. 15 bright dots marked the Dominion convoy. 3 smaller dots squirts moved alongside. Like sheepdogs protecting the flock, the AI's voice filled the room, calm and analytical. Convoy Theta Alpha detected. 15 cargo ships carrying refined fuel cells and weapons-grade plasma. Escorts, 3 Dominion heavy frigates. Estimated crew, 800 personnel. Lara Miles, standing at the tactical station, gave a faint smirk. "They have no idea we're here." "They will," Jareth replied, his tone cold. "But by then it will be too late." Dominion convoy on board the Dominion-led frigate Drankle, Captain Resk, a scaled reptilian officer, paced along the deck. The convoy's route through the Veil Nebula was considered safe. Pirates rarely dared to attack Dominion fleets, and most small scavengers avoided these regions. Resk glanced at his second officer. "Status report. All ships holding." "Formation," the officer said. "No anomalies detected." Resk nodded, though his instincts itched. He had read the reports from Thet-9. The whispers of a black warship that destroyed an outpost with terrifying precision. His commanders dismissed it as a hoax, but something about the reports unsettled him. The calm before the strike back on. The Revenant, the crew prepared for the ambush. Drake, the gunnery chief, checked the weapons console with a grin. Plasma lances charged, rail cannons ready. "Admiral, just give the word, and we'll send them straight to hell." Ilara glanced at Rion. "Don't get too excited. This isn't a slaughter for fun. It's war." "War is never fun," Rion replied. "But making the Dominion bleed, that's something I've been waiting for my whole life." Jareth raised a hand. "Enough talk, AI. What's the convoy speed?" 2,000 clicks per second, the AI responded. "They will reach the edge of the nebula in 16 minutes. Jareth's eyes narrowed. "Not if we take them first." Battle stations. Everyone, prepare for the strike. The trap, the Revenant, glided silently ahead of the convoy. Positioning itself above the nebula's densest cluster of ionized gas, its black hull shimmered, blending into the energy clouds like a shadow. "Ready EMP charges?" Ilara asked. "And loaded," Rion said, fingers dancing across his console. "When this goes off, their systems will go dark for 30 seconds. More than enough time to kill them." Jareth nodded. "Execute when ready." "It's a first bloth," the Revenant struck. Without warning, A pulse of black energy rippled from the ship, invisible to the naked eye, but deadly to electronics. The Dominion convoy's shields flickered and died. Engines stuttered. Scanors went blind. On board the Drangel, Captain Resk shouted in alarm. "What's happening? Status? All systems failing? We've lost shields before they could recover?" The first rail cannon shot tore through space, smashing into one of the frigates. The explosion lit up the nebula like a dying star. "We are here." The Revenant's transmission followed, cold, ruthless. "This is Admiral Jareth Cole of the Terran Defense Fleet. We are here. We are your reckoning." Resk's blood ran. Cold? Terrans? Another blast. The second Dominion escort was ripped apart, its wreckage scattering like dust. Cargo ships began to panic, breaking formation. "Return fire," Resk barked. But their weapons couldn't lock onto the Revenant. It was like fighting a ghost. The carnage the Revenant unleashed its fury. Plasma lances cut through to cargo. Ships in seconds, igniting their fuel cells in violent fireballs. Rian laughed bitterly as the Dominion tried to respond. "Pathetic. They can't even see us." Ilara remained cold, her eyes locked on the screen. "Take out their engines. Leave no survivors." "Aye, Commander," Rian said, firing again. One by one, the cargo ships exploded or went dead in space. The last Dominion escort tried to ram the Revenant, but a burst of rail cannon fire tore it apart mid-charge. The last captain only, the lead ship, Drangel, remained. Its engines burned desperately, trying to flee. On the bridge, Captain Resk stared at the tactical map in disbelief. This is impossible. One ship, just one ship, did all of this." Then a voice came over his comes, Jareth's voice. "You burned Earth. You hunted my people. Now it's your turn to burn." Resk roared in defiance. "We are the Dominion. You will die like the rest of your kind." The Revenant's main cannon fired, and the Drangel ceased to exist. Message: once the battlefield was silent, the Revenant recorded a message. It wasn't just for the Dominion. It was for the entire galaxy. "This is the voice of humanity. You believed we were dead. You were wrong. Every world you burned, every life you took, we remember. We are coming for you. All of you." The message was transmitted across every Dominion channel before the Revenant. It vanished back into the dark. The Dominion's few hours later, the Dominion Council met in emergency session. The destruction of Thatnine had been dismissed as an isolated incident. But now, with the convoy gone and the voice of a living human admiral ringing in their ears, fear began to spread. Chancellor Xylon slammed his claws against the table. "Enough of this. Find that ship, hunt it down, and destroy it." But deep down, even Xylon remembered the old wars with humanity, wars the Dominion had nearly lost. Despite their overwhelming numbers, humans were dangerous because they were relentless. And now it seemed they were back. The crew's resolve aboard the Revenant. The crew celebrated their victory quietly. Rian leaned back in his chair, grinning. That was beautiful. The way they screamed when their ships went dark, worth every second of waiting. Ilara shot him a look. "Don't get too comfortable. This was just a convoy. The Dominion will send warships next." Jareth stood silently, staring at the stars through the viewport. His mind wasn't on the victory, it was on what came next. "This is only the beginning," he said softly. "We strike again, harder, bigger, until the galaxy knows our name again." Flashback: the last orders that night, Jareth returned to the memorial wall. His hand rested against the cold metal surface, tracing the names. He remembered Earth's final message, broadcast as the Dominion bombarded the planet. "If we fall today, we fall as humans. But we will rise again." Would make sure those words were true. A new target. The AI interrupted his thoughts. "Admiral intelligence scans have located a Dominion shipyard in the Epsilon sector. It is lightly guarded, but crucial to their fleet operations." Jareth turned. "Then that's our next strike. We cripple their ability to rebuild." Lara entered the room, her expression grim. "Admiral, you realize this will draw their full attention? Once we hit a shipyard, they'll throw everything they have at us." "Good," Jareth said. "Let them come. We'll show them what humans do when cornered." Bookending the Revenant's engines flared as it set course for the Epsilon sector. The AI's voice whispered across the bridge. "Admiral, if we continue like this, the entire galaxy will fear humanity again."
Oh.
Jareth's reply was cold and steady. "That's the point." The scene fades as the Revenant vanishes into hyperspace, leaving only wreckage and fear in its wake. The Dominion shipyard in the Epsilon sector was a giant floating fortress, orbiting a gas giant with rings of silver and gold. Hundreds of drones worked endlessly, welding new warships and repairing damaged cruisers. The shipyard was considered untouchable. It was heavily armed, protected by a small defense fleet, and constantly monitored by Dominion patrols. But the Dominion had not faced the Revenant, the Ghost. Approaches the Black Terran warship moved silently, cloaked by its stealth systems. Glided through the cold void like a shark circling prey. Inside, the crew was tense, but their eyes burned with purpose. "Target in sight," reported Alara Miles, standing at the tactical console. Her voice was steady, but her fingers tightened around the controls. Admiral Jareth Cole stood behind her, hands clasped behind his back. His gaze was fixed on the holographic display of the shipyard. "Number of enemy ships?" The ship's AI responded in its calm, mechanical tone. 6 Dominion destroyers, 15 patrol frigates, and over 200 automated defense turrets. Rian Drake, the gunnery chief, gave a low whistle. "That's a lot of firepower." "It won't be enough," Jareth said. His voice carried the kind of cold certainty that silenced the room. The Revenant could not simply rush the shipyard. The defenses were too strong. Instead, Jareth had devised a simple but brutal plan, one that would make the Dominion remember why they had once feared humans. "We strike fast. We hit their fuel lines first. Then we cripple the assembly bays. We leave no chance for them to recover," Jareth said. Alara nodded. "If we overload their fuel reserves, the explosion will take out most of their defenses in one shot." Rian grinned, like the sound of that. Dominion shipyard overconfidence on board the Dominion flagship Vertel, Captain Korak sat in the command chair bored. He was a hulking reptilian with scales like dark steel. The Epsilon shipyard was a routine assignment, and no one had ever dared to attack it. "Any unusual activity?" Korak asked lazily. "None, Captain," replied his sensor officer. "The area is clear. No hostile signatures." Korak leaned back, unaware that death was already creeping toward them. The attack begins. The Revenant struck without warning. Its first shot came like a flash of black light, a rail cannon slug ripping through space at near light speed.
Oh.
The slug slammed into one. The Dominion had never mobilized so quickly. 50 warships gathered in the Neres sector, a show of force meant to crush whatever ghost had been haunting their fleets. Carriers, battleships, cruisers, every type of vessel they could muster now, formed a deadly wall of firepower. From the bridge of the flagship Bloodfang, Admiral Scarvin, a towering reptilian officer with scarred scales, studied the fleet. His voice rumbled like distant thunder. "We end this today. One Terran ship cannot stand against the Dominion. Prepare the fleet for engagement," but deep down, even Scarvin was uneasy. The destruction of Epsilon shipyard still burned in his mind. The video message from Admiral Jareth Cole, his cold human voice haunted him. The Revenant. Prepares far from the Dominion fleet, the Revenant drifted in silent space. Inside, the crew prepared for what would be their most dangerous mission yet. Alara Miles stood at the tactical station, her face pale but determined. 50 warships, she said. "Can't take them head-on, Admiral. We'll be torn apart." In minutes, Riandrake smirked as he checked the weapon controls. "Not if we hit them where it hurts." Admiral Jareth Cole turned to his crew, his voice calm and steady. "We're not here for a straight fight. We're here to remind the Dominion why humanity was feared." Status of the prototype weapon? The AI responded, "Nova Lance fully charged. Experimental weapon systems online. Warning. Risk of destabilizing the reactor if fired at maximum power." "We'll take the risk," Jareth said. The Nova Lance was the last secret of Earth's war scientists. A weapon designed to pierce planetary shields and cut through the hull of even the largest battleships in a single shot. It had never been fired in combat until now. Ilara stared at the glowing interface. If this thing works, it could wipe out half their fleet in one strike. Jareth nodded. And if it doesn't, we'll die trying. The Dominion fleet hunts in the Neri sector. The Dominion fleet spread out, scanning for the Revenant. Admiral. Scar, no sign of the Terran vessel, reported one of his officers. They'll come to us, Scar growled. Humans are arrogant. They'll think they can fight us head-on. When they appear, crush them. But the Revenant was already there, hiding within the shadow of a massive asteroid field. It watched. It waited. The first strike, Rion, Jareth said. Light them up. The Revenant emerged from the asteroid field like a predator leaping from cover. Its rail cannons fired instantly, slamming into a Dominion cruiser and ripping it apart in one shot? What? Where did they come from? Shouted a Dominion officer. Panic spread as the Revenant fired again, taking out a second cruiser before the fleet could respond. The Dominion counterattack focused all fire on that ship, Admiral Scar roared. Dozens of Dominion warships turned, their weapons on the Revenant. Plasma bolts, torpedoes, and rail slugs filled space with deadly light. The Revenant's stealth shields flickered as it dodged between shots. Shields at 60%, the AI reported, cannot withstand sustained fire, and we don't give them a chance, Jareth said. The Nova Lance fires Nova Lance fire. The front of the Revenant glowed with blinding energy. A single beam of white-hot light shot across the battlefield, cutting through a Dominion battleship as if it were paper. The massive ship exploded in a fireball, fragments spinning out into the void. Silence fell across the Dominion fleet. Even Admiral Scar froze for a moment. What weapon is that? He whispered. Fear spreads, the Revenant moved with terrifying precision. Every shot it fired hit something: critical engines, reactors, ammunition bays. Ships that had been designed to withstand fleets of enemies were torn apart by a single Terran warship. They're targeting our command ships. One officer cried aboard the Bloodfang. Regroup, surround them, Scar barked. But the Revenant was already gone, vanishing into the asteroid field. The hunter becomes the hunted. The Dominion fleet tried to track the Revenant, but their sensors showed nothing. In the confusion, the Terran warship struck again, ambushing carrier and crippling its fighter bays with surgical precision. Alara's voice was cold as she called out targeting data. Admiral, we've taken down 8 ships already. Their formation is breaking. Good, Jareth said. Keep hitting them. No mercy. A desperate gamble, Admiral Scar realized the truth. They could not beat this ship in a conventional fight. All ships converge on my position, he ordered. We'll trap them in crossfire. As the Dominion ships closed in, Jareth made a decision. Ilara, ready the Nova Lance again? A interrupted. Warning, the reactor cannot handle a second full-power shot without risking critical damage. Do it, Jareth said. Better to burn out than be hunted. The final shot, the Revenant powered up the Nova Lance. Energy rippled across its black hole, and the void itself seemed to tremble. Target locked on the Bloodfang, Ilara reported. Fire. The beam shot out like the wrath of a dying star. It struck the Bloodfang directly, piercing through its shields and hull in an instant. Admiral Scar's ship exploded, taking 5 nearby cruisers with it. Retreat of the Dominion with their flagship gone. The Dominion fleet broke. The surviving ships scattered, retreating into hyperspace. The Revenant hovered among the wreckage, victorious but battered. Status report, Jareth asked. Shields at 15%? Reactors stable but near overload, the AI said. Casualties? None, Admiral Ilara replied, a faint smile crossing her face. Rion leaned back, laughing. 50 warships, and we're still here. I'd call that a good day. The message of terror before leaving. Jareth recorded a new message. Dominion, you have failed. You tried to erase us. You tried to bury us. But we are alive. We are coming. For every world you own, when we are done, no one will forget the name of humanity. The message was broadcast across the galaxy. Fear spread like wildfire. Dominion High Command Chancellor Xylan was furious. The loss of 50 warships was a blow the Dominion had not suffered in centuries. One ship. One Terran ship is destroying us, he roared. Find out where they are hiding. Find their base, or I will replace every one of you. Dangerous. Path back on the Revenant, Alara approached Jareth. Admiral, every time we strike, we reveal more about our position. It's only a matter of time before they track us. Then we strike faster, Jareth said. Take the fight to their homeworld, if we must. Hook ending the Revenant's engines flared as it jumped into hyperspace. Jareth's final words in the scene echoed like a promise of fire. They wanted extinction. Instead, they will have war. The galaxy was no longer laughing at humanity. The destruction of a Dominion shipyard and the annihilation of 50 warships had changed everything. Fear spread across the stars like wildfire. But fear could turn into anger. The Dominion High Command had decided this Terran ghost ship had to die. The Dominion's plan in the war chamber of Xylar Prime, Chancellor. Zealon addressed the gathered admirals and generals. His scaled face twisted into a snarl. This Revenant has humiliated us, Xylan growled. Our fleets retreat.
Ow.
Our people whisper about Terrans, as if they are demons. This ends now. Holomaps filled the room, showing a sector of space filled with red markers, hundreds of Dominion warships. We will lure them into the mirest expanse, Zealon continued. We'll bait them with false convoys and distress signals. When they attack, we strike with everything we have. No ship, no weapon, no human will survive. Admiral Kelthic, one of the few officers who had faced Terrans in the old wars, raised a warning claw. Chancellor, you underestimate them. One Terran ship has already destroyed our fleets. We may need more than brute force. More, Xylan hissed. I have assembled 200 warships for this trap. If that is not enough, then the galaxy should fear us no more. It's a bait in deep space. A fake Dominion convoy moved through the Mirus Expansa, remote region filled with gas clouds and magnetic storms. The convoy broadcasted weak distress signals, pretending to be vulnerable, but hidden among the clouds. 200 warships, weighted battleships, carriers, destroyers, and frigates, all cloaked and powered down to hide their presence. The trap was set. The Revenant's dilemma aboard the Revenant. Ilara Miles studied the distress call. Admiral, this is a Dominion convoy carrying weapons-grade plasma. It's lightly guarded. Perfect for an ambush. Rion Drake leaned back with a grin. Lightly guarded. Sounds like a gift. But Admiral Jareth Cole didn't smile. His sharp eyes studied the data. It's too perfect. They want us to bite. The AI spoke calmly. Probability of this being a trap? 86%? Alara frowned. So, do we walk away? No, we walk his head. No, we walk in. But we do it on our terms. The Planjareth gathered his officers in the war room. A hologram of the Mirus Expanse flickered before them. If they want us here, we'll make them regret it, Jareth said. We'll let them think we've taken the bait. But instead of attacking the convoy, we'll strike from the shadows and turn their trap against them. Rion grinned. Sounds fun. What's the play? Jareth pointed to a large gas cloud on. The map will use the Expanse's magnetic storms to hide our signature. Then, we hit their carriers first. No carriers, no fighters. Without fighters, their fleet is blind. The trap springs the Revenant moved into the Expanse, gliding. Silently between glowing nebula clouds, the false convoy was ahead, moving slowly. Scanning for hidden ships, Alara whispered. The AI replied, multiple power signatures detected. Estimated fleet strength, 200 ships. Rion cursed. That's a lot of ships. What I expected, Jareth said with a thin smile. Let's start the fireworks. The fur. The Dominion's home sector, Xylar Prime, was a fortress. Hundreds of warships orbited its twin suns, forming a deadly wall of steel and fire. Massive defense platforms hovered above the planet, bristling with rail cannons and plasma turrets, powerful enough to vaporize entire fleets. But the Revenant was coming. The warning on the Dominion flagship Ravager. Grand Admiral Corveth addressed the gathered commanders. Our enemy is only one ship, he said, his voice echoing across the war table. But this ship has destroyed everything we have thrown at it. Today, we end the Terran Ghost. A junior officer hesitated. Admiral, reports say this vessel is armed with weapons beyond our understanding. The Nova Lance Corveth slammed a clawed fist on the table. I do not care if their weapons burn with the fire of stars. We have 500 ships. One Terran relic will not survive this day. The Revenants resolve and board the Revenant. Admiral Jareth Cole studied the holographic map of the Dominion home sector. The sight of so many ships would have terrified any sane commander, but Jareth wasn't here to survive. He was here to make the Dominion bleed. 500 warships, Ilara Miles said quietly. Admiral, this is suicide, Jareth replied, his voice steady. This is war. I think they've won because they outnumber us. But numbers mean nothing if you can't hit your enemy, the AI interrupted with its calm tone. Admiral, prototype weapon Leviathan Protocol is ready for deployment. Warning, using it will permanently disable stealth systems. Lyra's eyes widened. Leviathan Protocol? Admiral, that's not a weapon, that's a massacre. Jareth turned to her. Exactly. The Leviathan Protocol deep within. The Revenant's hull was humanity's last great invention, a swarm of autonomous war drones, each the size of a fighter, armed with plasma lances and rail slugs. There were thousands of them, all linked to the Revenant's AI. They had been designed to fight entire fleets alone. Rion Drake's grin was almost feral. I always wanted to see what those things could do. Then you're about to see, Jareth said. Approaching the fortress, the Revenant dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of the Xylar system. Immediately, alarms rang across the Dominion fleet. Terran vessel detected. All ships form battle lines. From the bridge of the Ravager, Grand Admiral Corveth stared at the black warship on his tactical screen. It was smaller than most Dominion cruisers, but there was something about it, something that radiated danger. This is your end, Terran, he growled. The first clash, the Dominion fleet opened fire first. Plasma bolts and rail slugs streaked across the void, filling space with deadly light. The Revenant dove through the barrage like a shadow, weaving and twisting with impossible precision. Shields. At 80%, the AI reported. Return fire, Jareth ordered. The Revenant's rail cannons fired, striking a battleship at extreme range. The ship split apart, its engines exploding in a brilliant fireball. One down, Rion muttered. 499 to go. The swarm unleashed AI, Jareth said. Leviathan Protocol. Now. The Revenant's hull split open, revealing launch bays glowing with blue light. Thousands of autonomous drones shot out into the void, moving like a living storm. They swarmed the Dominion fleet, dodging fire and tearing through enemy ships. With surgical strikes? What is this? Corveth roared. Destroy those drones, but the swarm was too fast, too precise. A dozen destroyers were torn apart in minutes. Fighters scrambled from Dominion carriers, only to be shredded by the relentless drones. Terror spreads on the bridge of a Dominion cruiser. Captain Resk watched as his ship's hull was ripped open by a single drone that detonated inside the engine bay. This isn't war, Resk whispered. This is slaughter. Across the fleet, similar scenes played out. The drones moved like predators, never hesitating, never missing. The counterattack, despite the chaos, the Dominion fleet's numbers were overwhelming. They concentrated fire on the Revenant itself, their plasma bolts battering its shields. Shields. At 40%, the AI reported. Damage to porthole detected. Hold steady, Jareth said. We push through. Lara gritted her teeth. Admiral, we can't take all of this. We need to fall back. No, Jareth said. We end this here. Nova Lance. Maximum power. Jareth turned to the AI. Overcharge the Nova Lance. Aim for their command ship. The AI hesitated. Warning. Overcharging will risk a reactor. Melt down. Do it. The front of the Revenant glowed brighter than ever before. The beam that fired wasn't just a weapon, it was a star being born. It struck the Ravager with unimaginable force. Piercing through its core, Grand Admiral Corvath's last words were drowned in fire as his ship exploded. The shockwave knocking nearby cruisers off course, breaking the wall with their flagship gone. The Dominion fleet faltered. The Leviathan drones ripped through their ranks like wolves through sheep. Within an hour, over 100 Dominion ships were burning wreckage. "They're falling apart," Rion said, his voice full of awe. "Admiral, we're winning." But Jareth didn't look relieved. His eyes were cold. "This isn't victory, not yet." The Dominion retreats finally. The surviving Dominion ships began retreating towards Xylar Prime. The Revenant held position, the swarm of drones circling it like an army of steel angels. Elara let out a slow breath. "We just took down a fleet of 500 ships with one warship." "No one will believe this." "They'll believe," Jareth said, "because we're going to make them see it." The message the Revenant broadcast a live feed of the battlefield, showing the burning remains of the Dominion fleet. Jareth's voice followed, calm but deadly. "This is the voice of humanity. You tried to erase us. You failed. But we are coming for your throne. For every city you burned, we will burn 10 of yours. This is your final warning, Dominion homeworld." Xylar Prime, Chancellor Xylon, watched the broadcast in silence. His claws dug into the metal table. "One ship," he hissed. "One Terran ship is doing this." An aide trembled. "Chancellor." "The people are afraid. Some are calling for peace." "Peace." Xylon snarled. "There is no peace with humans. Prepare the planet's planetary shield. If they come here, they will not leave alive." The crew's determination on board the Revenant. The crew took stock of their victory. The hull was scarred. Shields were weakened. But the ship still lived. Rion leaned back, laughing softly. "Admiral, I think we just made history." Jareth didn't smile. "History doesn't matter. What matters is finishing this fight. We'll go for Xylar Prime next." Ilara's eyes widened. "Their homeworld." "Admiral, that's insane." "So, was surviving this long?" Jareth replied, hook ending as the Revenant's engines flared for another jump. The AI spoke quietly. "Admiral, if we attack Xylar Prime, we may not return." Jareth's voice was calm. "Then we make sure they don't return either." The scene fades as the Revenant and its swarm of drones vanish into hyperspace. Heading straight for the Dominion homeworld. XY single quotes Lar Prime was the heart of the Dominion. A massive world covered with dark cities, towering spires, and defensive rings. It was shielded by 3 orbital defense grids and armed with planetary cannons powerful enough to cut moons in half. But none of that mattered to the Revenant. Humanity had not come for survival anymore. It had come for vengeance. The arrival of the Revenant dropped out of hyperspace on the edge of the Xylar Prime system. The crew stood silent as the planet appeared on their displays a dark jewel, surrounded by a swarm of warships. Hundreds of Dominion survivors from the previous battles had regrouped here. Forming a last line of defense, sensors detect 300 warships and 15 defense platforms. The AI reported. Elara Miles swallowed hard. 300 ships. Barely survived 500 last time. Rion Drake smirked, though even his grin looked strained. "Guess we're going to make them regret leaving these ones alive." Admiral Jareth Cole stood at the center of the bridge, his voice steady. "No retreat. No hesitation. We strike until this planet burns or we do." The Dominion's last stand-down, the flagship Bloodrain. Chancellor Xylon watched the Terran warship appear. "So, they come to die," he hissed. "All ships, prepare to defend the homeworld. Fire at will." The Dominion fleet opened fire immediately. Plasma bolts lit the void, and rail slugs streaked like burning meteors toward the Revenant. The first clash, the Revenant surged forward, its stealth systems flickering. "Shields at 90%, the AI announced. "Return fire," Jareth ordered. The Revenant's rail cannons roared, tearing apart the first 2 destroyers in its path. Missiles streaked from its launch bays, detonating in brilliant fireballs among the Dominion's ranks. The Leviathan drone swarm was released. Thousands of drones shot forward, weaving between enemy ships like a deadly tide. defense grids tried to cut them down, but for every drone destroyed, 10 more struck back. The Leviathan storm, they're targeting the platforms first, cried a Dominion officer aboard a defense station. Within minutes, the drones ripped through the first platform, detonating its reactors in a white-hot explosion. One down, Rian muttered with a grin. 14 to go. The Dominion fleet scrambled, fighters launching in waves to intercept the drones. Dogfights filled the skies, but the AI-controlled swarm was relentless, coordinated, merciless, and impossible to outmaneuver. The voice of Humanityrith opened a comm channel to the entire Dominion defense network. This is Admiral Jareth, Cole of the Terran Defense Fleet. You burned our world. You hunted our people. Now your empire will pay for every life you took. His voice carried across every Dominion channel, echo. The Dominion was dead. Its fleet shattered, its homeworld burning, its leaders gone. For thousands of years, the Dominion had ruled the stars with iron claws and fire. Now, all that remained were smoking ruins and terrified survivors. But with the fall of one empire, the galaxy did not find peace. Instead, fear grew like a storm. The galaxy watches on the planet Arathis' Prime. A council of neutral alien species gathered. Their faces were grim as they watched the holofeet of Xyler, Prime's destruction. The Terrans did this with one ship, whispered a thin, insectoid leader named Sarek. One ship. Another, a scaled alien from the Krail Republic, shook his head. If humans can destroy the Dominion, what stops them from destroying us? The room fell silent. Everyone remembered the old stories about humanity, how Terrans had once fought entire coalitions and survived, how they had refused to bow to anyone. The shadow of humanity in the far reaches of space. Whispers spread through black markets and military outposts. The Terrans are back. They have weapons that burn like stars. Revenant killed 500 ships alone. Some saw humanity as saviors, liberators from the Dominion's tyranny. Others saw them as the next galactic threat. Aboard the Revenant, the crew gathered in the war room. For the first time since the war began, silence filled the ship. No alarms, no battle plans, just silence. Rian Drake leaned against the table, arms crossed. So, we actually did it. The Dominion's gone. Alara Miles looked less certain. Well, did we? Or did we just light a fire that will burn even hotter? Jareth Cole stood with his hands behind his back, eyes fixed on the hologram of the ruined Dominion homeworld. The Dominion was a monster, but the galaxy fears power, and right now, we are the most dangerous thing they've ever seen. AI's warning. The Revenant's AI interrupted. Admiral long-range sensors indicate increased fleet movements across 5 sectors. Multiple factions are mobilizing military assets. Jareth frowned, preparing for war. Probability, 68%, the AI replied. The surviving Dominion, unbeknownst to the Revenant. Fragments of the Dominion still lived. Deep in a hidden star system, surviving warlord named Koresh gathered the remnants of the Dominion fleet, about 50 ships, scarred but determined. Koresh stared at the holoscreen showing the destruction of Xyler Prime. His voice was cold. The humans think they've won. They've only made us stronger. We will rebuild. We will strike when they least expect it. The debate back on the Revenant. Alara slammed a fist on the table. Admiral, we can't just keep fighting forever. We need allies. There are species out there who hate the Dominion as much as we do. Rian snorted. Allies. You think anyone wants to stand next to us after what we just did? They're terrified. Of us? Alara shot back. Then we show them we're not monsters. Jareth said nothing. He was thinking of Earth, of the burned cities and lost colonies. He remembered humanity's screams as the Dominion erased their world. We'll find allies, Jareth said at last. But only those willing to fight. The rest will stay out of our way. The signal, as the crew argued, the AI detected something. Unexpected incoming transmission? Origin? Unknown sector? Beyond Dominion borders? Jareth's eyes narrowed. Play it. The screen flickered, revealing a strange alien face, long, thin, with glowing white eyes. Terran's the voice, said distorted but clear. We have been watching you. We have waited for your return. If you seek vengeance, we can help you. But there is a greater danger coming, the greater threat, the alien continued. The Dominion was not the only empire in these stars. Beyond this galaxy lies something far worse. It is coming, and neither humans nor aliens will survive unless we stand together. The transmission ended abruptly. Ilara stared at the screen. What was that? A warning or a trap? Rian smirked. Could be both. The decision. Jareth remained silent for a long time. Finally he said, set a course. Whoever they are, we'll meet them. We stay ready for war. If this greater danger is real, we'll need every weapon we have. The galaxy's fear while. The Revenant plotted its course. News of the Dominion's fall spread like wildfire. In the trade hegemony, merchants whispered of Terran fleets rising from the dark. In the Krail Republic, military leaders held emergency meetings to discuss the human threat. Some systems sent secret messages to the Revenant, offering supplies and alliances. Others prepared fleets to confront them. The Revenant upgrades. Jareth ordered the crew to repair and enhance the ship. The Leviathan drone bays were restocked with new drones built from salvaged Dominion tech. The Nova Lance was upgraded with additional energy amplifiers. If another war is coming, Rian said, I want to be the first one pulling the trigger. Ilara rolled her eyes. You're going to get us all killed. Better us than them, Rian replied with a grin. Koresh's move. Meanwhile, Warlord Koresh launched a strike against a neutral trade hub. His fleet burned entire stations, leaving a single message carved into the wreckage. The Dominion lives. Humanity will die. A growing shadow, the mysterious alien message, haunted Jareth's thoughts. He stood alone in the observation deck, watching the stars. A greater danger, he whispered. What could be worse than the Dominion? The AI answered quietly. Unknown threat detected in the outer rim. Massive energy signatures moving between galaxies. Estimated arrival within the next 5 cycles. Jareth's jaw tightened. Then, we prepare for hell, Hokandias. The Revenant's engines roared to life. The crew stared at the stars ahead. There was no Earth to return to. There was no peace waiting for them. There was only war and the promise of something even darker approaching, Admiral. Ilara said softly. Where are we going? Jareth looked at the crew, his eyes hard as steel. To find out who sent that message, and to make sure the galaxy remembers why humanity survived. The Revenant jumped into hyperspace, leaving the ashes of the Dominion behind. The stars passed in streaks as the Revenant tore through hyperspace, heading beyond the known galaxy. Behind them, the Dominion was gone. But ahead, something darker waited. Admiral Jareth Cole stood on the bridge, eyes fixed on the expanding void in front of them. He had led humanity's last warship through a hell of fire and loss. Now he was leading it into the unknown, the coordinates. The mysterious message had included only one thing: coordinates, a sector beyond the Dominion's territory uncharted, empty black. No star systems, no trade routes, just dead silence. Ilara Miles leaned forward over her console. Admiral, we're arriving at the coordinates in 60 seconds. Scans show nothing, no ships, no signals, just a gravitational anomaly. Rion. Drake muttered, that's never a good sign. The AI spoke calmly, exiting hyperspace now. The black zone, the Revenant, dropped into real space. At first, there was only darkness. Then, they saw it. A massive object hung in space, like a shattered moon. Wrapped in strange metal, ancient, cold, dead. Except it wasn't dead. It pulsed, a faint red light blinked from its core, almost like a heartbeat. The message again. Suddenly, the AI flickered. Incoming signal? Same source as before? Playing now. The voice returned. You came. Good. But you are late. The darkness has already awakened. Jareth stepped forward. Who are you? The voice answered. We are the ones who fled. Survivors from a galaxy that burned. We watched your kind rise and fall. We hoped you were gone. But now we need you. The ancient warning A hologram appeared, stars swirling, galaxies spinning, until it focused on a black shape consuming entire systems. This is what we ran from. A force older than time. We called it the Vexor, a machine hive, conscious, endless. It consumes stars, turns life into data, then erases the rest. The image showed entire planets turning dark, fleets vaporized in seconds. Then the Vexor grew larger. It's coming to your galaxy now. You thought the Dominion was cruel? The Vexor doesn't conquer, deletes. The crew Reaxilara's voice shook. Is this real? Galaxy-eating machine? This can't be real. Rian stared at the hologram, pale. Those aren't ships. They're like living factories. They eat matter and rebuild it. Reith looked calm, but his hands clenched behind his back. Why tell us? He asked. Why not warn the other empires? The voice answered. Because the others are afraid of you. But we know what humans can do. You burned the Dominion. If anything has a chance of stopping the Vexor, it's you. A dangerous gift, the ancient voice continued. We have left behind a weapon, hidden inside the artifact you see. It's not finished. But with your technology it can be, the AI interrupted. Detecting internal systems inside the structure, ancient power cores, matching partially with Terran AI architecture. Rian leaned over his console. They're using tech that looks like ours. Or maybe we copied theirs. Lara's face turned serious. Admiral, this thing may be the key to fighting whatever's coming, but it could also kill us just by turning it on. The Desijandrith took a long breath. The galaxy had just started to recover. Earth was gone, but their fleet had survived, and now this new threat appeared. A force even the Dominion feared AI, Jareth said. To prepare. A boarding team. One inside that thing. Inside the artifact, the boarding shuttle drifted toward the strange structure. Its hull was covered in black metal, etched with glowing red lines. No windows. No doors. Then, as they approached, a section opened like it was expecting them. Ilara whispered, That's not creepy at all. The team entered. Inside, they found a vast chamber filled with floating machines. Dead, but humming faintly. In the center, a glowing orb pulsed slowly. The AI's voice came through.